Hello everyone, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I wanted to talk about installing DokuWiki, which at some point I think everybody to do it. It's quite a known piece of software, still used at some places. So I wanted to show you how you can actually install this particular thing with two different options. One option is using Nginx, and the other one will be using Docker containers. So maybe first of all let's take a look on PHP support, because I was trying to install DokuWiki with PHP 8.0 and 8.1 and I couldn't do it because I think it only worked with 7.4. So let's take a look on the chart. We got supported PHP versions. As you can see, 7.4 is at end of life. So if you would like to install 7.4, just bear in mind that it's outdated, pretty outdated, because even 8.0 is now under only security fixes only, so the newest version is 8.2. But I'm gonna show you two different ways how you can actually install it. So the first one is gonna include, unfortunately, the old version of PHP, so 7.4 with Nginx, but the other one is gonna include the newest version 8.2 PHP. That's gonna be with Docker containers. Okay, so one more thing about it. As you can see, I'm on DokuWiki.org webpage. I wanted to show you what they are saying about installing DokuWiki and Debian distributions. So we generally do not recommend installing DokuWiki as a Debian package for several reasons. And here you got all the reasons which you should not install using Debian, but I'm just gonna disregard all of that and show you how to do it on Debian. So just bear in mind, if you want to use some kind of other distribution, you can always see how it can be installed just on the DokuWiki.org page. Okay, so first of all, let's just start, of course, with installing Nginx. So this is going to be our base. Okay, next we're going to start Nginx and then enable it. Next, we're gonna install apt transport https lsb release and ca certificates and wget. We're gonna use wget to pull down DokuWiki. Okay. Next, we're gonna install, or actually pull down a GPG key. And now we're gonna actually add a repository. As you can see, PHP repository list, because we're going to be pulling down PHP. Now we're going to do sudo apt update. Just remember, before you actually start any installs, you need to have everything updated. Okay, now I'm going to clear the screen. We're going to do apt install. We're going to install the older version of PHP. Of course, I'm not saying that it's not possible to install PHP 8.1 or 8.2 and try to configure it the way that the DokuWiki will work. I don't know, to be honest. I tried it a little bit. I didn't dwell on it for too long, so maybe it's possible. Maybe if you mangle and tangle with it a little bit more, you can set it up. But I didn't want to waste any time, because basically you got Docker containers and they have like the newest PHP version. But if I would just wanted to show you that it's possible to use also the older version and how to set it up the old way. So as you can see, now I'm installing PHP 7.4 MySQL, FPM, curl, GD, mbstring, and quite a lot of other stuff, zip, MariaDB server, MariaDB client, all of that stuff will be required. So I'm gonna pull it down. I never say that something is not possible to be done. So if somebody's trying hard enough, maybe you will find a way to do the configuration with the newest PHP. Maybe it's not even hard, maybe it's very easy, maybe I just don't know about it. Could be as well. Okay, so this is almost done. So now we're gonna start MariaDB. I'm gonna enable MariaDB. And of course we're gonna start PHP FPM. I'm gonna enable it as well. And now we're gonna use Nano. You can use Vim or whatever you like. And we're gonna go to PHP ini file. We're gonna change some stuff. So first of all, what we're gonna need to look for here is output buffering. We need to turn it off. So output buffering, change this to off. Next I'm gonna change upload tank directory as well. Just gonna change it to TMP. Okay. Next I'm gonna change the upload max file size. That's like 64. Alright. And okay, I need to open my notes because I remember there was one more. Yeah, post max size. Exactly. That's the one I wanted also to change for 64. And let's save everything. Okay. And now we can actually restart the FPM service. Now we can do a secure MySQL installation. Of course, your sudo password here. Okay, we got that covered. Next we're gonna go to MySQL and we're gonna create the database. We're gonna create the user. We're gonna grant it all privileges. And we're gonna flash the privileges. And next we're gonna exit. Okay, now using wget, I'm gonna pull down DokuWiki. And after that we're gonna create an additional folder that is gonna reside in var www html. So we're gonna create a directory here called DokuWiki. And of course, after downloading everything, we're gonna put it to this folder. Okay, so we're unpacking everything to this folder. Now we're gonna change, of course, the ownership to this user, www.data-user, the most known user. If it goes to any websites like Joomla, WordPress. Okay, we're gonna also see each one of them. We're gonna change the read-write options to this path, and at the end we're gonna, of course, create the DokuWiki conf file, so configuration file. So I got the configuration prepared. This is how it looks. So I'm gonna be using port 443 and SSL. So everything's gonna be through HTTPS. I don't have a domain name, so I'm gonna use self-signed certificates. I'm gonna include snippets with self-signed configuration. In here I'm gonna put my self-signed certificate in the key, and in this snippet I'm gonna include SSL parameters, and I'm gonna show you which parameters I'm gonna use. Of course, here you need to change to 7.4 FPM, and here you need to use include snippets fastcgi phpconf. Without this you cannot use include snippets. Okay, so we got the configuration file. Now what we're gonna do, okay, we're gonna do this right now. Next we're gonna remove from Nginx sites enabled the default config, and the same we're gonna do from sites available. We don't want any default stuff lying around. Now let's go to sites available. We're gonna do ls. We got our DokuWiki. Just gonna check everything is fine. Change the directory. And of course, after all of that, we need to create self-signed certificate. So I'm gonna create now a self-signed certificate and a key. So the key is gonna be here. This is the path to the key at CSSL private, and of course the certificate is at CSSL certs. So I'm using my IP address. If I had a domain name, or if you have a domain name, you can always create it with a domain name. Although if you have a domain name, you will probably have also SSL certificate, so no need for that. Okay, next step. We're gonna create a snippet. So the same thing I was talking about previously. So we're creating a snippet called self-signed configuration, and in this configuration we're gonna include our self-signed certificate and our self-signed key with the whole path where it actually resides. Next we're gonna create another snippet called SSL parameters, and here we're gonna put some additional parameters. I'm not gonna talk too much about them because I think at one point in I think OnCloud video, my OnCloud video, when I was showing how you can install OnCloud, I think there I was also using snippets and I was talking quite extensively about it. It was either that or WordPress, I don't remember. Either way, you can check my other videos. I'm talking about those SSL parameters quite extensively there, and I'm showing other parameters that you can use, headers and stuff. So quite a lot of information in my other videos as well. Okay, so basically all of the configuration is done right now. Now we can check the configuration. And of course we need to restart Nginx. Okay, so after that, let's just open the web browser. We're gonna navigate to HTTPS, my IP address, and there is our DokuWiki. Of course, we need to change this to install.php, and there you have it. Here is your DokuWiki install page. Okay, so that's one way we can do it. The old way with the, of course, the updated PHP version. Okay, now let's go to the other thing that I wanted to show. Okay, so the other way is gonna be, of course, Docker containers, like I said. I'm gonna just switch my notes. Okay. So for that, first of all, we need to, of course, install some stuff. So I'm just gonna go with this. If I'm missing something, it will be installed if I have it. Then that's fine. Okay, so that's the first step now. Gonna add the Docker official GPG key. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna create a directory in etc apt, and it's gonna be called Nginx. And now we're gonna download using curl GPG key. Okay, now we're gonna set up the repository. Okay, and now we're gonna do our chmod on our Docker GPG. We're gonna run sudo apt update. After that, we can run Docker. So I'm gonna install Docker. Let's pull down Docker. Docker Community Edition, so CE, not the Business Edition, but the Community Edition. Community Edition CLI, and of course Docker Compose plugin. Sorry. It's gonna take a moment. After all of this is done, we're gonna install Docker Compose. After that we're gonna start composing our own files, so we can pull down DokuWiki. Okay, now let's install compose. Of course, bear in mind I'm using here curl and I'm getting Docker Compose from the website, so you can change this of course to the newest version of Docker Compose. I think at the moment when I'm actually doing this video, the newest version is 2.14.2. I think it is the newest one. I can check. Well, now it's 2.15, so that's the latest one. So I guess I'm using the older one right now because I have 2.14.2. The newest one is this one. So if you would like to change it, just remember, before pulling down the install, check what's the newest version, change it here in this place, and we're gonna have the newest one. Okay, so it has been downloaded. Now let's go to, we're gonna change the directory and we're gonna go to user local bin. Gonna do chmod docker compose, and we're gonna run docker compose just to check if everything is well and dandy. And there you go, docker compose installed with all the options. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to create a directory called DokuWiki. So we're gonna make a directory called DokuWiki. Gonna change the directory. And now we're gonna create a Docker Compose YAML file. So we're gonna use nano and we're gonna create Docker Compose YAML file. Just bear in mind that in this file, this file is pretty flimsy if it goes to how you actually do your spacing here. If you make like one mistake in this configuration file, use one too much tab or something like this, the configuration is not gonna work, or it's gonna pull down your image. It's gonna pull down your image, but it's gonna skip most of the configuration that you have done, so it's gonna be faulty. Okay, so what I'm gonna use, I'm gonna try to use two different images here. One is from Bitnami. So let's go to Bitnami DokuWiki. Exactly, that's the stuff I was looking for. And the other one, And this is the other one. I'm gonna use some Linux server DokuWiki. So we got like 2 Docker Compose files here. So let's start with the Bitnami first. So of course, if you want, you can always download the predetermined Docker Compose YAML file that they have prepared for you, and just do Docker Compose app-d, and you'll be set. You have DokuWiki running on your Docker Compose. Or you can of course change different stuff about it. So if you would like to specify the whole configuration yourself and pick what kind of things you would like to use in environment variables, so these are the available environment variables that you can use in the configuration, with the PHP configuration, of course. So if you would like to do it your way, I will actually, we can check where is the Docker Compose file. Here it is. Here, let's open it. We're just gonna copy this. I'm gonna copy it here, and now we can go here. I'm just gonna use environment because that's the thing that we're gonna use here as well. Okay, environment. Let's just check if that's how it's actually, yeah, aligned, because as you can see, everything here is aligned to a certain point. If I would align the environment with the DokuWiki, my configuration would not work. So just bear in mind, that's the thing about Docker Compose and YAML files. Everything has to be in a separate line. Okay, so first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna check some variables here. We're gonna change them. So I'm gonna do DokuWiki username. Let's do, let's say, password, because that's what I would like to specify in the beginning. I'm gonna specify a DokuWiki wiki name, so the name, main name. What else we can specify? We can specify, of course, the email address. So let's do that. Okay. Okay. Right, so this is how it looks. What do we have next? Of course, we could specify some PHP options, so I'm not gonna put them here. I think you get the picture how we can actually change it. So okay, so now let's save everything, and now we're gonna do Docker Compose -d. We're gonna pull down install. We're gonna see what we're gonna get. gonna take a moment, so I'm just gonna pause the video for a moment and I'll be back. Okay, so it's almost done. There we go. Okay, so it's up. Our container is up and we can check it out. So let's go to HTTP and the IP address, port. Let's try to log in with our credentials. Okay, so we're gonna just change this to HTTPS. Now let's go to login. And there we go. We can go to configuration settings. We can configure here our IP address. Should look like this. Let's save it. And we got the changes here. Okay, so basically this is how you can quite fast and easy install everything using Bitnami. So if you're using this image from Bitnami, you can modify it in a different way. You have those variables, different variables here that you can use. Oh, of course you get the maintenance. You can back up your containers. Here is everything about backing up your container. First you need to stop your container or stop Docker Compose container, and then you run this command to back everything up. Here you have restoring a backup. Then you have upgrading your own image. So again you need to of course stop everything, remove the old DokuWiki and run the new image with Docker Compose -d. Of course, customizing the image. You can also change some ports if you would like to. In my Docker admin video I showed how to change ports. There is like quite a lot of different options that you can use in the Docker containers which allow you to change ports. Okay, so we got this instance running right now. Of course, if you would like to see it from a different point of view, not only from here, you can always use Portainer. So you can install Portainer, which I think I'm gonna do now. Just gonna install this. Okay. I'm gonna create pertainer data folder, and now I'm gonna pull down pertainer as well. So thanks to pertainer, we're gonna have a little bit different point of view on our containers. It's pretty easy to handle, and you can always, if you have an SSL certificate, like a valid one that you actually bought, you can apply it to pertainer and it's gonna be secure. It's really easy as well. Of course, now the next image that we're gonna use is gonna be this one from Linux server. It's gonna be version 2.1. Of course, the newest versions are always 3. But we are gonna use this one with version 2.1. But also, as you can see, has specified ports, port 80 and port 443, which is said that it's optional here. You can even, in this image, you can specify a PID, GUID and PID. But of course, time zone. Not many variables that you can actually use in this one. At least Bitnami offers a little bit more. But since it's very touchy, you need to just look out with it, because it depends on what kind of variable you want to use. Okay, I'm gonna log out of here, close this one. I'm just gonna wait a little more. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video and unpause it when it's done. Okay, so pertainer is almost ready. So we can go to our pertainer. We can check our containers. Of course, we got our DokuWiki container. If we go inside, we can go to duplicate and edit, and here you have all the stuff about your containers, so your ports, how they are mapped, your volumes, which volumes are mapped, network, environment variables, so the ones that you have specified, which ones you have specified, and which ones were added. As you can see, we got even Apache HTTPS and HTTP port numbers here. Specified OS name Linux. It's Debian 11. I was looking for the PHP version. Docker Compose version. Okay. Apache. Restart policy. Compatibilities, yeah, so quite a lot of different useful information. Okay, so basically this is how it looks. This is Portainer, very easy to use. What do we have here? Notifications, authentication, environment, settings. If you go to settings, you get SSL certificates here. If you have a certificate that you bought, you can always select the file from here and give it. The same goes with the key. Then you just force HTTPS, apply the changes, and everything goes with the HTTPS and the newest certificate that you have. Or you can of course do the same thing with a self-signed certificate and the key. You can just create a self-signed certificate and give it here with the key. Okay, I'm not gonna show it because I showed how to do it in my Redmine video. So let's go back to our containers. So I'm just gonna stop this container and I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna remove the container. Okay, so now we're just gonna open our Docker Compose file and we're gonna change it because we're gonna use this time this ISO, or sorry, this image. Okay, so in this one we have restart and stopped, which is very useful. To be honest, the Bitnami one doesn't have it, and when I tried to specify it, it didn't go that well. So at least this one has the restart option. Okay, probably you can also specify some, I didn't try it, but maybe you can specify some stuff in the environment variables like a username, password, maybe something like that. Okay, let's do now Docker Compose up. I'm gonna pull down this one. Of course, if you make any changes to the YAML file, you can always update it with Docker Compose -d. So let's take a look. What do we have here actually? Volume mappings. Well, not much to be honest. Here's our Portainer. As you can see, I mapped port 666 to port 9443, which is the default port for Portainer. You can always change those ports, either in configuration files or you can change it. I think, I don't know if you could change it here. No, probably not, but you can change it in the config files. Okay, so we got our container ready and running. So it's time to open up. So through HTTPS we got DokuWiki. As you can see, you can not log in here because there is no setup has been done here. So this image is more similar to the one that we actually installed using Nginx in the beginning of the video, because this is like a plain image without any setup. The Bitnami image has some stuff already done, so that's why you can specify some variables and you can log in to an account, admin account, and change other things. And there we go. Okay, so this is DokuWiki for you. Two different images, implementation through Nginx and Docker Compose. Well, I think that's about it. If you want more info about DokuWiki, you can always go to DokuWiki.org. Quite a lot of info about this stuff there. So thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, and of course if you feel like being a supporter, you can go for it. I will catch you in the next video.